is episode 11. This is Jordan, and today we have our friend Kenny on once again. Thanks for being here, Kenny.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So today we want to talk about Videodrome. I haven't seen Videodrome before. I think I've seen like parts of it, but where do you stand with Videodrome, Kenny?
You've seen it now, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just watched. I bought the movie.
I watched it. I haven't seen it in like probably 12 years or so, or more. But I definitely saw it a lot of times as a kid, and I might have even like dubbed it. You get like when you had a video, when you went to video stores, you took home the movie, and then you could have two VCRs.
Oh yeah. So you ripped it.
I don't think I understood EP and SP back then either. So if you don't know about this, there's two like settings of your video, and it's like lower quality and higher quality. You can have you know what it is, right? Yeah. There's like SP and EP, and like EP like makes the tape like a lot longer, but it lowers the quality by a lot. But I think I did my own like Cronenberg marathon before marathons were a big thing, and just by going to the video store, looking through the sections and looking for all the Cronenberg movies after I heard of.
So kind of like walk me through that. What age do you think this was when you first discovered this?
When I probably was a young teenager, maybe like 14, I would guess.
And what was your like impression of this kind of like mind fuck of a movie?
Yeah, I was just I would go to the video store, and then I was like renting every horror movie like in the section, so I was like making my way through it. And I think I like knew about directors and stuff, and I found one of them, or maybe I'd even heard of it. I don't know where do you hear about things?
I don't know either. Yeah, that was how we did it. We would go to the video store and go to the genre sections. It was pretty much the library. It was the video library that we went to, and went through categories.
I don't know if somebody told me to watch it or what, but I did. I mean, maybe it was like those TV guys,
Yeah, I mean, we had trailers. If you ever at somebody's house and like trailers would play. But I mean, you totally passed Videodrome.
It might have been. There was like TNT, like Monster. What was it called? Monster Vision or something. I watched a lot of TV. I grew up with TV, watching TV, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of TV, so that's where, it's interesting to hear, because I also was really scared of stuff when I first saw it. Like I saw like Freddy Krueger, like a glimpse of Freddy Krueger when I was really young, and I think that steered me off from horror movies until I was about like 13, 14 years old. I had the guts to like actually sit through one, like a good one. Like a good old one, like The Thing or something,
My family, my parents, I feel like they put me in front of the TV as like a babysitter, basically. And it's like, hey, what? Get out here. Go watch TV. What are you doing? So I was like, watching TV.
Well, and that's what I had like neighbors and friends that were like that too. Their parents would just like they would leave the room and let them watch pretty much whatever was on TV. And that's how I got to be exposed to a lot of movies. But a lot of like overdubbed Hispanic, like where it's like Jackie Chan movies or American movies, but they're overdubbed the Hispanic language, because I hung out with a lot of Hispanic people when I was younger. Yeah, in the neighborhood.
The Hispanic language. I was renting like the horror movies. I was like a little kid. I was getting into these horror movies when I was a little kid, because the pie-faced teens at the video store, they didn't care what you rented, and I could walk to the video store. So when I was a little kid, I was just walking to the video store, maybe more than like watching a horror movie and then going back and getting another one, like maybe in the same day. So I was just like making my way through that entire section by the time I was very young watching all those crazy movies. I guess I always found them entertaining, and it wasn't ever.
And did it ever like phase you, like when like some of these crazy gory, like disturbing scenes, like the vagina gape in his stomach, or the gun, or the
gun hand?
The gun hands.
I don't know. I mean, it never. It's hard to tell if I was like somehow I wasn't like scared or like having nightmares or anything, but I wonder if I'm a crazy person at this point.
Yeah.
Like maybe it affected me in like since I wasn't afraid of it, maybe it affected me
No.
in weird ways that I don't know. But
But well, his movie specifically is one that fucked me up when I was a kid. Was The Fly? Like
yeah,
I saw The Fly on TV, and it was like towards the end. So I was like, oh, it's Jeff Goldblum, you know, from like Jurassic Park and stuff. And then like by the end of the
I
movie, he's
find the
like
way.
peeling his skin off and shit. You know.
Yeah. You saw that? You saw The Fly as a kid, but you didn't see Videodrome as a kid, huh?
No, I mean The Fly was probably more mainstream. You know, it was the one that was playing on TV. Videodrome wasn't playing on TV. You know, like
Yeah, I think I must have just seen it from the store. I must have rented it from the store. I wonder. It's like I haven't seen this movie in like 10 years, and then you just saw it for the first time. But I watched it like a bunch of times back in the day, and then haven't watched it in a long time. But it's like I now I just like really am immersed in video and maybe more than ever with all these phones and everything. Everybody's just like in their screen.
yeah.
So I'm gonna see if I can remember. Like, are you gonna go over the plot of the movie? Like, I want to see if I can how much I can remember. It's James Woods, right?
Yeah, so
So James Woods, he's like just like watching TV, like cable TV or something. And he's like flipping through the channels maybe, and then he comes across like what is like looks like a snuff movie. Is that right?
um not
He's like,
quite, but
I thought he's going back, and then it's like this is like a guy like sitting in a chair, like silhouetted. Maybe like is he? And he's like, what is this? He's just like flipping through the news, and then it's like gets to that thing, and then it gets weird, and then he keeps like looking for it, and then the TV grows a gun, and then he goes crazy. Is that?
yeah. I mean that's some parts, yeah, you nailed, but to be honest, there's just so much, yeah, to
yeah,
this.
yeah,
So
yeah,
Videodrome is directed by David Cronenberg, and it stars James Woods as Max Wren and Deborah Harry, the lead singer of Blondie. That's pretty insane that she's in this movie.
she did a lot of movies though.
Yeah, she has, but you know, the kind of you know, she's getting cut and burned with cigarettes and pierced in very kinky ways. Anyway, she plays Nikki Brand, and she's like a call-in radio personality. But yeah, this film was released in 1983, and it's a science fiction horror film, and it dips into the art house and exploitation genres as well. But also, it's kind of its own thing entirely. You know, a Cronenberg movie. And I've never really seen anything like this movie. And the score was done by Howard Shore, which was awesome too. If you remember, like the music from this movie at all. But yeah, so I've seen The Fly and A History of Violence and Cosmopolis, and I've seen other parts of Cronenberg, but for some reason I never sat down to like take in his filmography. So now I want to like, and I bought the Criterion Blu-ray of this, and it looks and sounds like amazing. They do like film pressings and then release them. I'm sure you.
Yeah,
And it comes with a nice booklet which gives you some backgrounds on the first impressions of the people that saw the script for the first time. And the Blu-ray is full of commentaries and special features, and it shows Rick Baker's first impressions of the script as well. And he's the one, and him and his team did the makeup effects for An American Werewolf in London,
yeah,
which I just talked about on this podcast, actually. And I remember thinking that the practical effects and makeup on that film was incredible and holds up to this day, in my opinion.
yeah.
And
Did you do this? Rick Baker did Videodrome?
yeah, so
Oh.
yeah, it's really weird. Did you see An American Werewolf in London?
Yeah, that's the one where his friend is like gets killed in the beginning, and then he's like a ghost, and he's all messed up the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just watched that one. Well, I mean, I've seen it before, but I refreshed on that one. That's such a good movie.
yeah, classic. Landis, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
John Landis.
yeah,
So we see Max Wren, the owner of a TV studio called Civic TV, and he's on the hunt for the next big sensational thing that can serve the audience something new and exciting. You know, something dirty. He's like the edgelord of the '80s. You know, his friend or some guy that works in the studio, this nerdy guy, and he like keeps doing like a Hispanic accent. he comes across a special satellite dish that picks up a broadcast from Malaysia. He calls Videodrome. And then this is when like Max witnesses it, and he's sucked right in, and you know he thinks that it depicts people being brutally beaten and tortured and presumably murdered later. And so at a young age, you seeing this kind of thing for the first time. I mean, this is like it felt kind of real, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and I'm watching this now. And I'm like, this makes me feel really weird watching this.
I don't know if I was desensitized or I had a strong sense of reality, and I could watch it and handle it as a fiction. I don't think little kids can handle this kind of thing.
Really? Dude, so there's like a lot of sex scenes in this movie, and they're not really like sex scenes. It's more just like people naked and like they're like hurt, or he's like cutting the girl and shit.
I don't know what I thought. Now I'm trying to think about this because I was watching like a lot of like I watched like Friday the 13th part 1. I was like very young. I don't know how I got it, but I went to the video store like I said, and I was just like getting the movie from the shelf, and then let me take it home, and I watched it, and I saw like Friday the 13th on TNT at night, and I was like a little kid. I was like probably like maybe like 7, and I saw it on TV, and I was like, I'm gonna go get that. I want to go watch the movie, and I rented it, and then I take it home and I watched it. And that movie's got like, it's got sex in it. I don't know what I'm thinking as a little kid. Did I know what sex was as a little kid? Like,
I don't think I really did when I like started. I mean, of course, it was like, oh, there's boobies and there's naughty things happening, and it's
I don't know what I thought.
You're just like, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was like watching it. I'm like, I like this movie.
I actually just got a flashback of one reason why I might psychologically not have watched a lot of Cronenberg up until this day. I was really young. It was on like TNT or something, but Scanners was playing, and it's the scene where the guy's like, the like sound is going off in his head, and he's just like, it's the guy, the Anchorman.
Scanners Cronenberg too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one's really good.
His head explodes. The Anchorman's head explodes. And I remember seeing that as a really young child, and that's the one that sticks with me.
That might have been how I started watching all the Cronenberg movies when I was a little kid, because that cover of Scanners, where it's just like, the cover is just that guy mid-exploding head.
Yeah, it is.
The cover of the movie.
Which I didn't find out until way later, and I was like, wow, they really just put it out there on the.
I think I saw that exploding head and I got it. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to see as a little kid.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, now that I still like horror movies and stuff, but I think they're like for children in my mind.
Yeah, Max is like watching these snuff films with he's like, for some reason he's like, this is the future of television, you know, like something that like,
it's something, it's like hypnotizing him.
Yeah, it is. Like, which we don't find out until much later.
Like, this is the future of television, and you're like, and like as a viewer, you're like, no, it's not. You're
like, are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah. You're like watching two men beating somebody tied up to death. And then we meet Blondie's character, Nikki Brand. She's that self-help motivational sex radio guru or something or other. And they become sexually involved like right away. And she wants to watch a porno. And she's like, you got any porno? And he's like, no, but I got this like murder footage, you know? Yeah. And she's like, oh, let's watch that right now. And then so there are many scenes of them laying around naked, and then she asks Max to just start hurting her, which I guess is like Videodrome hypnotizing both of them. Like, you were right. Yeah. Like, it starts mind controlling them.
Yeah.
And so she like starts wanting, burned with cigarettes and I was like, what the hell's going on, man? Like he was like piercing her ears in a very non-sterile procedure. And how come, and it was weird that he's the only one doing it to her, too. I guess that's what made me feel kind of weird. Like, it would have been different if it was, like, both of them, like, ah, and then she's like, ah, but it was just him just being, like, oh, like, scared, and then he's, like, hurting her, and then he likes it.
I don't know what I could have been thinking when I saw this movie, and I was probably, like 12, maybe I was old enough to see it. because I think well by 12 was like in 1998 or so, they already had like like the early days of the internet.
Uh-huh.
So I was already like looking at like rotten.com.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I mean, I was never one to seek that stuff out, but I hung out with like hooligans, that
Yeah.
were like at school and like
Yeah,
all
no,
of a
yeah,
sudden.
that's what I was gonna say too. We were looking at I remember looking at rotten.com
Oh my god.
in class. Like in the
It's
corner
fucked up.
looking at like I mean it was the worst stuff. There was like some like brain like
Yeah, and it was like
actual
real
brain.
suicides and shit.
Yeah.
Which I mean, people and Videodrome. I don't know if this was from that time or if this was more in the '90s. But you remember like Faces of Death and stuff, or
Yeah.
people were into renting these Faces of Death videos, which was
Oh yeah, you
pretty
could
much
rent them.
just
Yeah. But
snuff films.
I don't know if they would maybe they might not rent that one to kids. They rented these
No.
fiction movies to kids, but when
Yeah.
on the internet it was just totally free, and they didn't
Yeah.
know, and it was public school.
Yeah.
So I would go to school, and then the kids at public school are like, "Hey, look at this," and they're like,
It's
or,
like
I was like, "Hey, look at this." To
it's like
other
an
kids, maybe.
exploding butthole or something,
Well,
it's like
I remember one that was just like the guy that fell off his motorcycle and his brains were like on the street.
Oh my god! I think
Yeah.
now that you're saying shit like this, like it's making stuff. I don't know if I have to edit this shit out or not. Like,
Yeah.
But it's making me have like flashbacks of like because I swear to God I was never like doing this on my own, but I would like have these little fuckers sitting next to me being like, oh dude, and then like
Yeah.
look at this shit, and then like you look, oh dude, yeah, I'm getting like not good stuff.
I mean, I was seeing that stuff, and I don't know if I was trying to be tough as a kid, like a little kid, but I was like, maybe I convinced myself. I mean, that was entertaining. I guess it's like now it's less entertaining, but for back then, I was like, this is entertainment right here.
Yeah, this is the future of television.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really was though. And do you remember those weird websites where you would watch like you would like make these little stick figures and then you would like draw like ramps and shit for them to like hit and die on and stuff?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah, I don't know. Just weird shit the kids were into back then.
It's
And,
like why it's for kids, because like now you're like, oh, that's weird, but like when kids are just like evil or something.
yeah,
I didn't have a sense
evil.
of consequences, so I was like watching really nasty things and just thinking it was just great.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm like more sensitive to that stuff than I was at that age.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm just now recently starting to pick back up movies like this because first of all, I have a kid, and then also my partner's not really into these like kinds of movies, and then like I'm becoming more sensitive with old age, and then like now I'll see where I used to like see like The Departed or something, or like a really violent movie, and then like someone's head gets blown off and you're like fuck yeah, but like now I'm like oh god, like
oh goodness,
oh my goodness. Yeah. If you didn't see it coming, it can really stick with me sometimes.
But at that point they're not aware that it's affecting their minds or something.
Yeah, he's still not aware. So, but I think he's becoming a little bit more aware that he's addicted to this kind of stuff, and it's also she's expressing interest in like auditioning for Videodrome, and like Max kind of freaks out. He's like, "Don't fucking do it." He's like, "You don't know who these guys are and shit," but he's like, pretty much just like. He's like, let me torture you, like, it's like, no, man, you don't need to let strangers do it. Let me fucking do it. So then Max contacts Masha, which is this older lady who is like in the softcore porno business. And this is where we find out soon after that the footage of Videodrome is real and that it has something to do with some political movement. And then he ends up tracking down Oblivion, who's that older guy, the one who's like in the television, I think. But he's like trying to track him down, and then he goes to that homeless shelter where we see a bunch of homeless people being like binging TV in cubicles and taking part in what looks to be an experiment of some kind. And then Max tracks down Oblivion's daughter, Bianca, who's like running the homeless shelter. You know, well, I mean, I thought this was one of the craziest parts of the movie when he like walks into this homeless. It looks like an office
Girl,
building, and then like all these homeless people are like sitting in front of all these TVs, and
they're
and
watching Videodrome, or you don't know what they're watching.
I have a feeling they're watching, like, it's not really explained that specifically what it is yet, but I think that they are having them watch Videodrome to like control their minds, and
Yeah.
maybe because like later on we find out that they're like using Videodrome to control people to do things for them, the government and television
Propaganda.
propaganda, and well, like, and at the time, you know, television was like, it's like television's taking over children's minds and it's frying your brain, and you know, like the poster for this movie alone is like him kissing the screen and he's like disappearing into the screen, and
Yeah.
you know, it just seemed like from that time period, this is kind of around when like I think Tipper Gore's coming out, and then there's like a lot of like heavy music restrictions are starting. I mean, that was pushing more into the 90s, but they were doing that for movies in the 80s. This is ruining our children and it's making them, you know, kill each other, and you know, it was pretty stupid time period, you know.
Well, yeah. There's always whatever new technology that is always warping children's minds. It
Yeah.
said that about like books.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is
Yeah.
just the new form. It's like now we have the handheld TV.
Yeah.
Because there could be, there could be another, there could be a new Videodrome movie with a
Yeah.
completely different.
Farmers saw the kids reading books. Like, why are you looking at that thing? What is that? You got to do some farming.
So then he ends up trying to track down Oblivion. Yeah, so he ends up at this homeless shelter. So this Bianca, the daughter of this like mastermind, she explains her father's vision to Max, and that he sees a world in which television replaces every aspect of normal life.
Mm.
So Max views a tape at home where Oblivion informs him that Videodrome is a socio-political battleground, which war is like being fought on to control the minds of North America. And like, holy shit, dude! Like, there's so much information in this like little bit of time, and this movie's only an hour and a half long.
Yeah, that's good.
And yet we have all these like bloated fucking like 2.5 hour long movies that are like most of the time like a superhero movie, like way too fucking long. And
I just saw Sonic 2.
was that long?
It was 2 hours long.
What the?
Yeah. Like
That-
it should have been a tight 90 minutes. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this movie's just genius in the way that it structures all of this information to be dropped on us in this moment, and we kind of just go along with it, and it all kind of somehow makes sense. And there's still like 20 minutes of the fucking movie to go, you know, and it's like, so not only is this movie just like nicely shot and the effects are really good, it just the story structure is incredible.
Pacing.
Yeah, the pacing is amazing. So he starts to hallucinate that Nikki's on the television screen, and then the objects start breathing. Like, you remember when like all of the objects start moving and shit in his room?
Yeah.
But that's when he sees the face on the television, and he starts smooching it. He pulls in for a
Yeah,
smooch.
it like stretches out.
Yeah, he goes into
Like-
he gets pulled into, it's like a gelatin like television set.
Yeah, it's just like a piece of like square of rubber or something with like a projection onto it, maybe.
Yeah, it was something like that. I was watching some of the special features, and even the behind the scenes where they're filming it happen, it looked real when he was like doing it. So that's just how
Well, it is real. It's there.
it is. It's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't appreciate stuff like that anymore.
Yeah, I think it's like just like a front projection with like a piece of stretchy fabric or whatever.
And I didn't even finish taking notes on this fucking thing, so I might even have to like read the last part of it because there's just so much to it. And like the only reason I took so much notes is because I was like, how is there still this much story going on? So Max starts having frequent weirder and weirder visions, and he starts, whipping a TV at some point, which was like he's in this like weird red dark room, and he's like whipping this television, which was some weird metaphor, you know.
Yeah.
but yeah, this whole thing was kind of like outer body too, because I was also really high while watching it, so it was just really. And then he dreams that he puts his hand, because he already owned a handgun is the thing. So
Yeah.
he had a dream that he put his handgun in the like genitalia looking slit in his tummy. And he wakes up and is contacted by some dude he's like, you want to know more about Videodrome or whatever? And he goes down and gets right into this car with some random dudes, and he goes to like this like optics place where they put that's where they put this like uh he's basically like, I'm gonna record your memories and your visions, and then they put this like weird TV thing on his head. Um,
Yeah, and that was like TV was still like more like of a mystical thing back then. I think that might have been pre VHS. So anything you're watching on TV, it's like, where is this coming from? It's like got to be plugged into the signals
yeah,
with the boxes and everything. It seems more like of a crazy thing.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean, VHSs were just starting to come out, or like they're starting to become popular. You know, everyone's
yeah,
starting to and then so this movie coming out, I'm sure, really fucking freaked people out because you know, because people just start putting shit into his stomach after a while, you know, like videotapes. They're like, here, watch this, and then they put like a videotape into his stomach, and I'm like, what the fuck?
but yeah, Cronenberg's such a nice guy too, and just like a kind of a nerdy like
Yeah,
innocent seeming kind of guy.
he
You know, it's
seems
like
really well put together.
yeah, I I think Rob Zombie is kind of awful in general,
Yeah,
and then he's got like dreadlocks and he's making these like bad horror movies and stuff. He's like looking like a crazy guy. He's like, I'm making these movies, but then like the better ones is like yeah, Cronenberg. Or seen like, have you ever seen Ari Aster?
Ari Aster's movies.
No, you know his movies, but have you ever seen the guy?
Yeah, yeah, he's like this little nerdy looking guy, balding.
Yeah, like
He's got a really light voice. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and like
Cronenberg's
his
pretty
movies
similar, yeah.
are awesome. I like his movies.
But they're they're fucked up.
They're nice and fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cronenberg is also he's just like very uh Canadian
Yeah.
intellectual kind of guy. Then he's just like making insanity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did you hear that David Cronenberg has a new movie coming out? It premiered at Cannes Film Festival.
Oh really? What is it? Does it have to do with
It's called
Tarzan?
it's called the Crimes of the World or something.
Yeah.
He already made it once. It was like a short from a long time ago, and now it's
Oh
like an
yeah.
updated version of it. Which, if you go look at that one, there's some questionable material in the.
Making it he remade it.
Yeah, but he's like remake. I think he's like saying it's a completely different story, but
Oh,
it shares the title and then like some of the concept. So like when he's recording his memories with that big machine, he starts seeing visions of like him whipping Nikki some more. And like at this point, Nikki's disappeared. She went to go audition for Videodrome. Um, she's just there and she's like getting whipped and stuff. I'm like, holy
oh,
shit, dude! Like,
yeah.
you gotta go watch this again. I think, man.
Yeah, maybe I should have watched it before this.
Yeah. No, I mean it's still fine. We're almost
Yeah,
done.
there's a guy with like a medical boot walking down the street. Like,
Why is that funny?
oh, it's kind of weird.
Oh man, there's a guy that's not too far from our place. I see walking down the street all the time, and he's like, he'll take a few steps and he's limping, and then he'll like look down at his leg, and then he'll be like, "Fuck, fuck, ow!"
Oh
And then like,
no.
he like looks around and no one's looking, and then he like limps off. But then again, he'll do it again. He'll be like,
The video.
"Fuck." But yeah, basically the end of this movie is he finds out that Harlan, that like nerdy guy, is working for the Videodrome Corporation people, and they pretty much are like, we're programming you to become an assassin for Videodrome. So he like so that's when he like pulls out the like gun with the slime on it, and it's just like infused onto his body,
He
and then
pulled it out of his own guts, right?
yes, he
He
pulled
like
it out of his own gut, and it
he like
just
he's at a restaurant, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere public like that because he stashes it. He stashes it and then like he pulls it out when he needs it because he's
Yeah.
taking out these dudes. Um oh yeah, and he also watches Nikki get murdered on the Videodrome set.
Oh,
Wow. That's pretty brutal.
you got a gun for a hand, like they call it a handgun, but come on, you
Yeah.
know? Hey,
So like he keeps dipping in and out of these visions and it's like, you know, that they're pretty much just like you need to leave the old flesh and come over to the new flesh and
oh, the
like
new flesh. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the phrase. I mean, that's like the tagline.
yeah. So
Welcome to the new flesh.
they're pretty much basically he's only having hallucinations because they're trying to completely make him this monster anyway, which we don't really see the outcome of because he just kind of like he kills himself, right? Am I yeah, so
With the gun, but then it's like, at that point you don't even know what's real.
that's true.
Then it's like
Yes.
kind of like, isn't it like showing like the TV and his
Y-
hand is the gun and he's like
yeah.
freaking out and then it shows like TV and you're like, is this Videodrome? Is this a hallucination? What is real? Like,
Yeah.
has this whole he's been hallucinating the whole time?
Yeah, so Nikki tells him that he has weakened Videodrome, and in order to completely defeat it, he must ascend to the next level and leave the old flesh. The television then shows an image of Max shooting himself in the head, which causes the set to explode. Reenacting what he has just seen on the television, Max utters the words "Long live the new flesh," and then shoots himself in the head, and then that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. Oh,
So and we didn't even nail like a lot of like more. There's like so much more plot, whereas like you know David Lynch movies is just more of experiencing it, and you
yeah.
could just kind of like shut off and like and just float through the movie. Whereas like this, it was like I was trying to like grab so much information
Yeah, I think
from
it's there though. I think with Lynch, there actually is not something solid under to grab onto, and that's like the whole people are trying to grab onto it. I think
yeah,
no, and there's
yeah.
nothing there. I think with the Cronenberg movies that there is something there.
Yeah, where he's a little bit. I mean, like no, I love David Lynch, of course, but
Yeah,
whereas this kind of like is more, it's smarter filmmaking, where it's there. He's able to display display these images and fuck you up in the head, but also like grasp you with a good story.
yeah.
And I think I would give this movie. I think I give this movie a B plus, a B plus. It's a really good movie.
TV is not the same thing. Like I'm actually looking at this TV right now. I'm surrounded by CRT TVs, which are like these big things, and they're these like boxes, and they seem like they're kind of round, and like really seem like a portal to some weird world. I
Yeah.
think like with like the flat screens and the new stuff, it's just like it feels more false. It doesn't feel like as much as like a portal to
No,
something. Like
it
before, you're
does.
like flipping through the channels. Um, it required some kind of like liveness back then, without the video, like without being able to like back then there was no way to play your own videos on
Yeah.
TV. So like anything that was on a TV was coming from somewhere, from the void.
I have like anxiety about having too much shit to watch, like having too much stuff at my fingertips to watch anyway. You know,
Yeah.
like I mean, I have like all the apps and shit, and then I go on instead of relaxing and like sitting back and just being able to flip through the channels and tune out on like TV. I'm sitting there stressing out on how much time I have to watch whatever, and then I'll watch part of something. And it's like, oh, this sucks. I gotta watch something else that's better. And then like I just have this
Yeah.
bad anxiety, and
Mm,
then I'll end up usually just watching some like a podcast or like some reality TV or something because it just
yeah.
wasted my time.
That it's a message about TV being like getting into your mind and having you be violent, and like it's like making the gun on your like welded to your hand as part of you. You're connected to violence, like you're living violence. The new flesh is
Wow.
the TV. You're not your own flesh. Yeah, I think
And
it's time for like the Videodrome remake where your phone, like you put the phone
You
is
put
in
the
your hand.
phone in your tummy vagina.
Yeah, and then your hand, but then it connects to your hand, and then you can't get it out of your hand. I don't know what I don't know what I got out of Videodrome as a kid. But
Probably not. It's a lot to follow. You know, I mean,
yeah.
as a kid, I would have just been like, you know, over my head.
Well, I mean, but I was just like, oh shit, that's gross. I mean, yeah, kids like gross stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Go and check out Kenny's show, Your Daily Hour with me on YouTube
Yeah.
or local access TV. And so thank you for watching, Movie Buffers. We'll see you next time.
I mean,
Yeah. Thanks for watching.